There's a guy named Harrison Floyd. Have you ever heard of him? See, one thing that the left, we'll say white liberals, actually and black liberals, one thing they hate more than anything, more than a Ku Klux Klansman, is a black man who does not agree with them. Harrison Floyd is a black man who does not agree with them. He was part of the RICO charges that were brought against Donald Trump, and there was either 17 or 18 people involved in that. All of them were sent home and were able to post bail, except for Harrison Floyd. Now, what's weird about that is, if he were a leftist or a liberal, he would be a poster boy for systemic racism. Now, they wouldn't be able to blame or put it on Biden, so they would have to figure out a way to make it about Republicans, of course, because that's what they do. But he's the only one that they did not allow to post and bond, but everybody else could. And here's what's funny about it. When the charges were brought, he flew into Atlanta and surrendered himself. Got on a commercial airline, flew all the way to Atlanta, and said, "Hey, I'm here. I heard you guys need to speak with me. You're going to press charges." Georgia said, "Yes, we are, and you're not going anywhere." Now, of course, Donald Trump was able to get out, and all the other defendants were able to get out, but they locked this guy up to make an example out of him. Why? I don't know. Why do you think? Here's what's really, really, really interesting about this. Typically, when you're brought up and you're not a flight risk, which we know he's not. Why? Because he flew there to surrender himself. So the odds of him being a flight risk really makes no sense, because he didn't have to fly there. Make sense? Okay, so he flies there, submits himself to the court, they lock him up, and it looks like they want to throw away the key. This is a black man, and he is sitting in jail while all the other 16 or 17 plaintiffs are free. Now, mind you, there's a judge in California who shot his wife. Cold blood. She died. He called his bailiff and said, "Hey, I just killed my wife." He's out on $1 million bail. But Harrison Floyd, because he was associated with Donald Trump, he's under the jail. Now, here's what's cool about this. The cool thing is, it's on full display exactly what they're trying to do. The bad part is, they're using a black man as an example. Especially if you're black, you need to comply. If you don't. Now, the judge, the pre-trial, she's supposed to go over what he's being charged with and just let him know his rights. This clown judge, and I call her a clown judge, I'll put her name up. I don't know her name. She almost gleefully denied this man's bail while saying, "I'm not going to make a decision on your bail." That's important. But he says, "Hey, Your Honor, I talked to some lawyers. It's $40,000 to $100,000. I don't have that money, and I can't put my whole family in debt over this." She says, "Well, so that means you can't get a lawyer. You don't qualify." In Georgia, I guess there's a cap. I'm sure that happens in all the states, but he doesn't qualify for an attorney. Typically, you would tell somebody in criminal law, "Hey, if you're the defendant, you don't want to represent yourself." This judge says, "Hey, don't worry, you can represent yourself."
All right, so Mr. Floyd, you have the right to then hire a lawyer of your choice, or of course you're always welcome to proceed pro se. But because you do not qualify for a public defender, you have the right to retain a lawyer of your choice. Okay?
I've spoken with several different attorneys for lying out here. The cost is typically between $40,000 to $100,000 just to retain a lawyer for these charges. And then they charge hourly that I cannot afford. I'm not going to put my family in that kind of debt. especially with my daughter. I cannot afford an attorney for something like this.
Scott McAfee, Judge McAfee will go through the process. If you choose to represent yourself and to not retain a lawyer, he will go through that process and those questions with you. I just want to advise you of your right at this point, that if you wish to hire a lawyer, you have the right to do so. Okay? Okay.
They're supposed to say, hey, this is not a good idea. You're going up against the state and their attorneys and their money and their backing, and you don't have any law experience. I highly recommend you seek counsel. Here's what I'll do. I'll appoint you an attorney, so I'll give you representation, and then you can pay them back. Something along those lines would be fair. Instead, she gleefully says, oh, don't worry, you can represent yourself. This is a screw job if I've ever seen a screw job. It's crazy. So before she denied him bail, she asks somebody, I guess they represent the prosecution or the state.
Pre-trial services. Can you give me any information about Mr. Floyd's criminal history?
Yes, ma'am. I have one prior. It was from May 15th, 2023. It's a Maryland FBI. It was simple assault on a federal officer. And it was given bail supervision for 5 years on charge of simple assault misdemeanor. Nothing further.
Problem is that charge is connected to this case. So if that charge is connected with this case, then the answer should have been no. He has no priors. Definitely no prior convictions, because whatever it was that he read off was a misdemeanor. And it wasn't a conviction. It was still active. So she says, oh yeah, you're a flight risk. You're staying in jail. And he says, whoa, 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 Your Honor. Your Honor.
That's still an open case, Your Honor. It's not, I do not have a criminal record.
I understand, Mr. Floyd. Thank you. I understand that it's just charges against you. Okay? All right. All right. Okay, Mr. Floyd, the issue of bond is not going to be addressed today. But to the extent that you're here in front of a judge, I do find that based on the open charge against you, there are grounds for bond to be denied at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and find that you are a risk to commit additional felonies and a potential risk to flee the jurisdiction. So I'm going to deny bond, but a full consideration of bond will be addressed by Judge McAfee as your case moves forward. Do you understand?
Something, Your Honor. So the charges brought against me by the federal government were first presented to the state by the FBI. The state decided to not prosecute. On the day they decided not to prosecute, the U.S. attorneys in the state of Maryland notified my attorneys that they would take up the charges. This charge is a simple misdemeanor, ma'am. I got on a plane. I voluntarily came here. I am already on federal pretrial supervision. I've had no issues with being on pretrial supervision. There's no way that I'm a flight risk, ma'am. I showed up before the president was here.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a flight risk. You're staying in jail. This is what they've been doing since January 6th. And they've been locking people up and just holding them indefinitely. But in this case, why isn't the left behind this guy? He fits all their intersectional categories. Why are they allowing this? Why is nobody saying this? Have you heard about this? This is a perfect story. Black man being railroaded by the system. Unfair judge. She makes a decision while saying, I can't make a decision. That can be a problem when the other judge, I think his name is Judge McAfee, when he sees this and he hears this, I don't know if he can overrule her saying, you're not getting out. I'm denying bail. Because it's really interesting language that she used. What we're doing right now is not to determine whether or not you're eligible for bail, but your bail is denied. And it's like, that's a decision. She says, I can't make a decision on your bail. Bail denied.
The issue of bond is not going to be decided by me. It's going to be decided by the judge who is assigned to handle your case. Okay, this is just a first appearance hearing for a case that's already been indicted. So I was just letting you know that it's not. We're not going to have a bond hearing today, but to the extent that you are before a judge, I'm telling you that bond is not going to be issued today. All right.
And when will that next hearing be, ma'am?
That'll be up to Judge McAfee. All right, Judge McAfee is going to be the one who's handling your case. This is just your first appearance hearing to notify you of your rights and notify you of the charges that have been brought against you.
Come on. This is clearly the system going against a black man. He's the only black defendant, and he's the only person who was not allowed out. And this is the left. They're in power at every level that could take care of this. And he's being railroaded, and it is so obvious. But this is the world we're living in. I just want to know where all the activists are. Black Lives Matter. This is a black man. What are we doing here?